What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Early Wedge. My name is Sia Nejad, and I am joined today by Patrick McDonald and Jason Sobel. And gentlemen, we are in round 4 of the BMW Championship. It does feel like it's a race between two. Patrick McDonald, how you doing today?
Good. See, I gotta ask. The internet is abuzz with this question. You were out there on the grounds. Was it yesterday? Friday?
It was Friday afternoon, yeah.
Did the top button get unbuttoned with the heat in Baltimore?
Yeah, it was really hot. So of course I did not buckle. The top button was fastened the entire time. I was walking around with Keith Stewart, who Patrick and Jason, I'm sure you guys know, he had it all Harry Higgs style. And I was top button. I was comfortable. I was taking pictures. I put it on the social media sphere and people were like, that must be so uncomfortable. Jason Sobel, it wasn't uncomfortable at all. I don't mind having my top button fastened.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do it. I never get anywhere near that top button. I mean, I just, it's too hot for it. And even if it wasn't, I just want to be a little comfortable. So.
I will say this, Patrick, before we get into things. You know how you kind of made that offhand comment when we were doing the Best Bets show on Tuesday? You're like, hey, bring your walking shoes.
Yeah.
That is a huge property. I mean, it is a
massive.
lot of walking. It's very hilly. There was a lot going on there.
Yeah, I think when I was there in 2021, it was the first tournament I ever covered. And I remember like Phil walked to the 10th hole and he's like, he just played like 9 in a practice round. Going to the 10th, he's like, this course is a bitch to walk.
Oh,
and then like Xander was like, yeah, I'd put it up there with like Kapalua and Augusta National as well.
Yeah, that's what most of the guys are saying. It like they said you can never find a course like Kapalua as far as a tough walking golf course. So like Caves Valley is right there with the Plantation course. Kevin Sylvester, who's working for PGA Tour Radio this week, walking with some of the better groups, was on postgame with me a couple nights ago, and he said, I can confirm that Caves Valley over under for deodorant lasts about 3.5 holes. with the heat the way it is and with how much you're walking out there.
Yeah, and it doesn't really get like too windy, does it, Sia?
No, it didn't. No, there was like a very slight breeze for like 1 minute, and you felt like it was like the most. It was like a blessing because you just don't feel a breeze there, and there's not a lot of shade either. I mean, even for spectators, there's just not a lot of shade. So, but whatever. It was really fun. I was really happy to be out there. Saw a bunch of people, and I'm always happy when there's a tournament near us. I want to acknowledge some people in the chat before we get to this betting board. And gentlemen, it does feel like it's a 2-horse race, which is, and I could be wrong, but that's why we're actually going to look at the without market, because BetMGM and other properties are offering the without Scotty and Robert McIntyre market, a statement I didn't think I'd be saying on a Sunday. But Anderson Andrews says Sia is going to have to change his rank of counselor to the judge with the streak he has been on. Gentlemen, in round matchups, over the last 5 weeks, I'm 21-4-1. Like it's getting ridiculous. And I wanted to have an official play for this show, but I simply don't. It would be a force. So we're going to talk about matchups at some point in the show. If you all have a question about matchups, let me know, because maybe by the end of the show, we land on something. Bill Seibert says Harry Hall top 5. Anybody have a take there? I was going to take Mav over Harry Hall in that market, but then I looked at what Harry Hall's been doing, and I can't do it. Mav was a -115 favorite, I believe, on BetMGM. We can double check that later. But Patrick, Harry Hall is playing. We all know Harry Hall's been playing good golf, but he's even playing better than I thought he would.
Yeah, I don't mind the top 5. It's like what, plus 130, I want to say right now. He's T4 to start the day. Obviously playing some motivated golf with the Tour Championship and potentially some Ryder Cup implications as well. I dubbed him the silent H after that interview after round 1. Harry Hall, that is. So I like it, right? This guy is hitting it much better, and we know what he can do on the greens. He's number 1 on the PGA Tour in strokes gained putting. He makes a ton of birdies also. And so I think he has some pretty good staying power inside that top 5.
We've also got a question from Philip Teresis, who says, I hope I pronounced that right, Philip. Been riding Harris English in all of his round matchups, but today might be the stay away day. So Jason, it's Harris English at even money against Cameron Young, who is around -125. I like both of those guys. I especially like Harris on a Sunday, but Cameron Young's been fine on really most days. That would be a stay away for you, right?
I might go Cameron Young. It's probably a stay away at that number, but I do like Cameron Young in the top 10 market and maybe even the top 5 market today. I think he's just playing some really good golf. And Today is all about motivation. We talked about it on the Tuesday show in the fact that you've got half the field, or maybe less than half the field, that's dead man walking today. That they're going out, their season is done. No matter what happens today, they can't get into the top 30. And it's just, let's get out there, let's play 18 holes, let's get in, and let's go on vacation. And they are not that motivated to go out there and play well. Then you've got guys with a lot of motivation. Doesn't necessarily mean when you're motivated to go shoot 64, but it means that there are guys who have specific reasons to care, whether they're trying to get into next week at Eastlake or they're trying to impress the Ryder Cup committee and trying to get onto either the U.S. or the European team. Harry Hall, who you guys just talked about, is very interesting. He was asked in his press conference after the round a couple days ago about the possibility of being on the European team. And he said, I haven't spoken to anybody. I wasn't fitted for clothes. I don't know anything about it. I'd love to be picked. I'd love to be part of that team, but it doesn't seem like they're even considering him right now. You talk about motivation. That's motivation for a guy. If I'm Harry Hall, I want to go out there and shoot 64, 65 today just to show them, here's what you're missing if you don't pick me.
Patrick, much has been made about that comment or that question and answer. Do you see that as kind of it's sort of a foregone conclusion that Harry Hall's not on the Ryder Cup team?
To have no conversations is at this point in the proceedings is pretty wild. So I think Harry Hall would need to do something drastic to change that. I would say he probably got a little bit of a break. Marco Penge just won on the DP World Tour. It looked like Rasmus Højgaard was going to win that golf tournament. I felt like if Rasmus won that, he's probably a shoo-in for that final spot, I feel like. But maybe the door is slightly ajar without that win, and Harry Hall could go out, play well this week, and win the Tour Championship or something. But it doesn't sound too good for him.
Let's talk about some of the guys before we'll get to the. I want to get to the outright board real quick, and then we're going to get to maybe some matchups, the top 5s, top 10s that we like. But you brought up, Jason, the FedEx Cup standings implications. Harry Hall is 25th, and he could drop if he has a bad day. He could drop. We'll see what happens. But some of the guys that are near the line: Jacob Bridgman at 27, Akshay Bhatia 28, Michael Kim 29, Sung J M 30th, and then on the outside looking in, Chris Gotterup, who's out on the course, he's 31. We got Ricky Fowler at 32, Taylor Pendrith, Kurt Kitayama, Lucas Glover, who's out on the course already, and Jason Day at 36. So, Jason, there's a lot that can happen right now when it comes to the FedEx Cup standings.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot more. Again, we're talking motivation. In the 6 previous years where we started with the staggered scoring format going into the Tour Championship, you're really not that motivated. You're like, cool, I want to get to the Tour Championship, but I'm going to start 10 shots behind Scotty Scheffler, whomever might have been number 1 on the points list. You're like, I don't really have a great chance, but I can go out there and get myself some money. It's a nice little prize for me to get into the Tour Championship, you get into the majors the following year. And so for some players, that matters. This year, well, you know what? If you get in at number 30, you have just as much of a chance as the guy who gets in at number 1. And so there's a little more motivation. Again, I think that motivation doesn't necessarily equal success. In many ways, motivation doesn't equal success, and that, you've got so much pressure on you internally, externally, that you don't go out and play your best golf. That said, I think today is a great day for those who have been watching the entire year. For those who pay attention, I would like to think that includes most of the people, if not all, that are on this chat and watching this feed right now. This is a day when you can basically see what you've been watching for the last 8 months and pick and choose. Like, that guy's got a little something. That guy, when he's got some pressure on him, I like the way he plays. This guy, I don't think he's got what it takes when the pressure's on the line to go out and play his best golf. Whether that means I'm taking Chris Gotterup today in a matchup in a top 20 type situation because I think he needs to get into that top 30, and I think he can do it because he's got that kind of swagger and bravado, go for it. If it's I'm going to fade Ricky Fowler because it seems like every time he gets close, he fades a little bit, so I don't want to take him, that's fine. Whatever it is you've made that decision on, I think the decision has to be based on the motivation for some of these players.
Yeah, and I'm tracking. By the way, if you want to see a guy who doesn't have the proper motivation, take a look at how Andrew Novak's been playing the last couple of days. Sung J M is 3 under, which is interesting because if memory serves, he was sort of on that line as well. Chris Gotterup -1 through 4, so he's got to have a pretty decent round to get himself to the Tour Championship. We're going to cover the Tour Championship, by the way, in about 10-15 minutes. But Debo, who's helping us out on the 1s and 2s, if you could put up the outright board. Well, we're going to take a quick peek at that, and then we're going to scroll down to the outright board without Bobby Mack and without, of course, Scotty Scheffler. Now, Patrick, is there anybody here? Like we see Ludwig at plus 2,000. He's obviously a number of strokes back. I mean, is this a market you would even flirt with? Obviously, you could take Scotty at plus 175. He's 4 strokes back, but I mean, there's not a lot that interests me here. Yeah,
the place that makes books had Scotty north of 2-1 last night. I'm not sure if it's still there as of this recording. Odds are subject to change, obviously. But north of 2, I got involved a little bit. But that's just really me Sunday. Not a lot going on. Need a little juice, need a little action, right? So I got involved with Scotty just a little bit, but nothing really does it for me.
Jason, any thoughts here before we scroll down to the without market?
What did you guys see Scotty at pre-tournament? I'm going back and looking. I'm trying to remember.
230.
230? Is that, that's where we had him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it might have started out a little higher, but it might have got bet down to 230.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would have 230, 240, 250, whatever it might have been in that range. He's currently in second place behind only one player, and I get that there's a 4-shot differential, but that number really hasn't moved a whole lot from where he was going up against 48 other players to start the week, or 47 other players to start the week. And so I think that's a pretty good number on Scotty. He's the best player in the world for a reason. Robert McIntyre's been sleeping on a lead for a few nights. If I'm playing anything in the outright market and it's not the without McIntyre and Scheffler market, I think it's Scheffler. I think that's still a good price on Scheffler right now.
Yeah, it's not that far off, to your point, Jason, from the pre-flop number, if you will. So I'm not like, I don't really want to take it, but I do agree that if you're going to take anything here, it's probably Scotty Scheffler plus 175. I don't think Ludwig is playing clean enough golf to catch up and to pass Scotty. So that's why I wouldn't even flirt with the 20-1 number, but I wouldn't argue with somebody who wanted to put maybe a couple of bucks on that. Let's scroll down to without market, because I think this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So now we're dealing without Bobby Mack. We're dealing without Scotty Scheffler. Ludwig plus 110, Sam Burns, who is 2 back of Ludwig, by the way, at plus 500, Harry Hall, who was also 2 back of Ludwig at plus 700, and then we got Tommy Fleetwood, Maverick McNealy. Let's see if we can scroll down a little bit more past Maverick McNealy, who's 3 back. Then we've got Vic, who is at Victor Hovland is at 6 under, so he is a full 4 shots back. Ricky Fowler at 28-1, who's 4 shots back. And then we get Cam Young, some of the bigger numbers. Jason, anything that excites you here?
I don't know if I get excited by it. I never get excited about playing Tommy Fleetwood on a Sunday afternoon, but Tommy Fleetwood in a without market, without the pressure on him, and just go out there and play some good golf. Wouldn't it be a very Tommy Fleetwood thing to go out there and shoot a 65 today, move into third place, capture that without market with the top 2 there, and just have a nice little, I don't know, like consolation prize. At 8-1, I think it's a pretty good number.
It's too soon, Jason, too soon to bring up Tommy Fleetwood's name. And again, last week, I took him in that without market, pre-flop, because I was hoping he didn't have pressure on Sunday. Turns out he did have pressure. But Patrick, that argument from Jason Sobel is pretty much bulletproof. Anybody else that you like, or do you like Tommy Fleetwood as well?
I don't hate McNealy. He's done a lot of scoring this week, but also a lot of bad scoring. So you just hope the latter doesn't materialize this final round. He's the one that I'm kind of looking at 12-1 right now, just because it looks like it's one of those weeks where Mav is making a lot of putts, which really hasn't been the case this summer.
Jason, I know you have something to add to that as well. I will point this out. In round 3, Mav McNealy gained across the board. However, he lost a stroke and a half off the tee, but most of that was on the final hole. He lost over a full stroke on the final hole off the tee. So it really, in my opinion, if you kind of throw out the worst and best holes, you're looking at a pretty good day for Mav McNealy. But Jason, you've been on the Mav train too.
A little bit here and there. I wanted to ask Patrick if he thinks that Maverick McNealy has done enough over the last couple of weeks to make the Ryder Cup team. Yeah, you're laughing already. It's a big question. I think personally that JT, Morikawa, and Cantlay, kind of the stalwarts, the veterans of the Ryder Cup in the past, are going to be named to this team, whether they make it on points or not, which doesn't look like they will. I do think that Cameron Young has done enough to be named to the team. Ben Griffin, if you had any other name, I've said for a couple months now that if Ben Griffin was named Colin Morikawa or Justin Thomas, He would have been a lock 2 months ago. I still think Ben Griffin makes the team. That last spot, I don't know that Keegan names himself right now. I have a feeling with the way he's played over the last few weeks, he's just going to go, you know what, I'll be the captain and I'll name 6 other players. And then you start looking around. Like a few weeks ago, I would have said Goddard up. I'm not sure I'm saying that now, even though I do like his game for Bethpage. Is it McNealy? He's had I think the advantage, the benefit of playing 4 rounds alongside Keegan Bradley, maybe 5 rounds alongside Keegan Bradley over the last 2 weeks. And at least the captain has gotten an up-close and personal chance to see him. I think that McNealy has gotten sort of less pub than any other player in the top 15 on that list over the last few weeks or few months, really. Do you think he makes the team based on what he's done the last couple of weeks?
I think as of now, he does get the Tour Championship start, which Goddard might not get, which could be huge.
Yep.
If I think he's the spot if Keegan doesn't pick himself, but I'm also curious how many rookies Keegan wants to take to Bethpage, because Mav would make it 5 Ryder Cup rookies. And then, if you want to go experience, Brian Harmon's been playing like decent the past month. I don't buy in on Jordan Spieth being on this team, but who knows? There are people out there in the ether who still believe it's 2015. And what a time to be alive. So I don't hate McNealy if Keegan decides to bow out, but I think it's that like revolving door right now. It's if Keegan doesn't pick himself, you throw Mav in it. But if Keegan picks himself, it could be up to the top 6 who qualify after today. If they're like, hey, Keegan, we want you to play,
Are we looking at, and I haven't looked at it closely enough, guys, is there anybody that can either pass Harris English or Bryce, who of course isn't getting points right now, that's close enough on the board to pass them, or is this going to remain what it is?
So English is he's 100 points clear of JT. And about, 500 clear of Morikawa, 1,100 clear of Griffin, and 2,300 clear of Keegan.
Interesting stuff. Can I ask you guys, a name we didn't bring up in that without market was, well, we didn't really talk about Harry Hall at plus 700, but Sam Burns at plus 500. I feel like 500.
Burns could be on the Ryder Cup team too. I forgot about him.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, we didn't mention him.
He's going to have to really, well, by the way, they close shop on, like, they pick after the BMW Championship, correct?
No.
So top 6 are finalized after today, and then it's the Wednesday after the Tour Championship.
Okay, so Sam Burns still has some work he can do here. So I think Sam Burns at plus 500. Like, what's interesting about Burns, and you guys know I'm a pretty big Burns guy, although he wasn't on my outright card. It was Cam Young and Chris Goddard up, so that went super well. But Burns is hitting fairways, and we know he's such a great putter. I do feel like we're sleeping on Burns a little bit. Maybe plus 500 isn't a rich enough number considering the chase pack and that he's 2 back of a guy that's more talented than him in Ludwig Oberg. But any thoughts on Sam Burns at plus 500? Patrick, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I don't hate it. The iron play was pretty solid yesterday as well. Made a bunch of birdies, shot 3 under with 2 bogeys, which is good to see. And yeah, he's going to make a ton of putts. It's kind of the same logic as McNealy, but Burns is hitting his driver a little bit better, you could say.
Right.
And whenever that's the case, he's playing from the fairway. He's probably not hitting it too close, but if he's on the green, he has a chance to make birdie. So I don't hate that either.
Jason, any thoughts here?
Worst approach play of anybody inside the top 10 over the first 3 rounds. Obviously, he makes up for it with the flat stick. He's second to only McIntyre in the field in putting over the course of the first 3 days. I don't hate Burns by any means, but this is a choose your fighter scenario. And if I'm going with Fleetwood, I'm probably not probably not hedging with Burns there or Hall or anybody else. Just pick one guy and hope that he has a nice round.
That's fair. So your Fleet is your guy in this particular market. Patrick, my guy is Sam Burns. If you had to pick, I'm not saying you're actually betting this, but if you decide to bet one player here in this without market, who's it going to be?
I'm on Mav. I'm on McNealy at 12-1.
Okay. Mav, Fleet, and Sam Burns. Can we look at, before we take a look at Eastlake, can we take a look at the matchups real quick? Because again, I wish I've had matchups for every day for days 1, 2, and 3, but I looked at this board. There wasn't anything I love, but I do want to go through a couple of the matchups. And before we bring it up, I'll just call it out. Justin Thomas minus 125 over Keegan Bradley. Anybody have an opinion there? Keegan's even money.
I'd take Keegan.
Me too.
Are they playing together?
Yes. These are 2 balls, so not random 18-hole matchups.
God, I want to fade both of them. Can I take somebody else instead?
Can you take the field and Justin Thomas versus Keegan Bradley?
Just take the overs.
Let's go to Patrick Cantlay over JJ Spawn. This one is the number to me is interesting. Patrick Cantlay's -115 over JJ Spawn.
I'd probably roll with JJ then.
Yeah, Cantlay hasn't really been striking the ball very well. Certainly not in round 3. Round 2 was okay. And we know Spawn is a Sunday guy, Jason.
I still just, I get it. He's not given me any reason to not trust him, but I still don't completely trust JJ Spawn. I know that's crazy. Look, I'm not saying that it makes any sense, but yeah, I mean, Spawn's numbers are better. There's every reason to like him. He's played better on Sundays. He's played way better in high-pressure situations, and I'll take Cantlay for absolutely no good reason.
That's fair. Let's go down to Pendrith versus Kitayama because we're getting a plus number on Pendrith here. You're going to scroll down a little bit here. Pendrith is +105 versus Kitayama -130. Anybody have an opinion there? That to me feels like I want to take the dog again here.
I have no interest in that one.
Yeah.
I'm not spending my Sunday sweating Kurt Kitayama versus Taylor Pendrith.
My DFS lineups will look a lot better if each of these guys goes out and like just give each other everything inside of 10 feet. I need each of these guys to shoot 61 because I was on them both pre-tournament. But if anything, I'd lean Pendrith here over Kitayama, but I don't have a huge opinion on it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like these are all like normally I would just go directly to a matchup that I liked and start from there. These are all forces, but I want to go over one last one. And Jason, I know you liked Fleetwood, but his round 4 2-ball is -150 over Ricky Fowler, who was +120. That's egregious to me. Why is he that big a favorite over Ricky Fowler, who's playing well?
He's just a better player right now. Look, we talk about motivation. Like I said, motivation doesn't equal success. In a lot of terms, motivation can equal a lack of success. We've seen it from Ricky over the years. I would like nothing more than for Ricky to go out there and post a terrific round today, get into the Tour Championship, have everything locked up for next year, and be able to set his schedule in pen instead of pencil. All of that said, Ricky tends to get into these situations and get into his own head a little bit. I get that Tommy Fleetwood is the king of getting into situations and getting into your own head. That said, when the win is not a possibility, a real possibility for Tommy Fleetwood, I think he goes out and plays well. Am I take him at -150? Absolutely not. But I don't really feel like I want to take Ricky Fowler in the situation either.
Yeah. Patrick, go ahead.
I think if you want Fowler, it's not against Fleetwood because I think statistically Fleetwood's been like the 3rd best player in 2025, honestly, from a strokes game perspective. At least, if you want Ricky, you think he's going to go out there shoot like 5 under, like bet him for top 5 at north of 4-1, then something like that.
Was that the top 5 you were? Because I remember pre-show we were talking about the top 5 marker. Was that the guy you had your eyes on, or was it somebody else?
Oh, it was Ricky. Strictly from the storyline standpoint, right? I want to get in on the madness of Ricky Fowler parlaying all these sponsor exemptions into starts into major championships next year. I need it. It's
pretty great. I mean, he's in the signature events, so he's got that going for him. So before we take our first break here, and what we do, we're gonna take a quick break and we're gonna check out what we're looking for at Eastlake, and then we're gonna come back and just keep an eye on what's going on in the tournament, see if there's anything else that we want to bet on or anything to consider. Ricky Fowler, where is he? He's 32nd. So Ricky needs to have like a pretty good day to qualify in the top 30. That's going to be, there's a lot of guys to keep an eye on, and he's certainly one of them.
Yeah, he probably needs Harry Hall to play poorly. Probably needs Taylor Pendrith not to play well as well.
Sungjae as well.
Yeah, Sungjae falling off would be nice for him too.
Bridgman would be another one.
Yeah.
And then a good round would obviously help too.
Yeah. A lot to keep an eye on.
They should just keep Sungjae out of the Tour Championship.
I know. How is he here? I don't even understand.
Don't it's math, but I don't get it.
I'm pretty sure he's lost on approach. I'm going off memory here. 14 out of the last 15 tournaments. And the one he gained, it was like 0.23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's he doing
good.
it?
I don't
He's
know.
shot 75, 77 the last 2 rounds and is still inside the top 30. I don't get it.
I think we need to have some sort of an auditor check out this point system. I think something is awry here. All right, we got to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're just going to give a quick look to Eastlake and maybe some players that we're looking at. Remember, no staggered scoring there, so it's a different setup for the Tour Championship in 2025. We're going to do that, and then we're going to eventually circle back to this tournament and look at kind of some final decisions and maybe answer some of your final questions for round 4. We'll get to all of that right after this message from our partners.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
We're back on the Early Wedge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. I'm joined by Patrick McDonald and Jason Sobel, and we got to talk Tour Championship. It's our very quick look at Eastlake. Patrick, we don't have staggered scoring this year, so I think that makes things very interesting just from an odds standpoint and an ultimate winner standpoint. But when it comes to Eastlake, what's the type of golfer you're looking for? Again, we're down to the top 30.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious to see how they set up the golf course. Like, do they want to make it really difficult on these guys and kind of make it fun for the viewers? Do they want to do something different now that there are no staggered strokes, like you mentioned, Sia? I mean, last year the scoring average was almost 2.5 strokes under par, which is pretty easy. They had the Andrew Green restoration as well, my fellow Virginia Tech Hokie. But you look at the top of the leaderboard last year, you had Scheffler, who was number 1 off the tee. Morikawa was number 2. Theegala was number 4. So the Bermuda rough out there at Eastlake, it's one of the main defenses, I would say. Got to play from the fairway. So I don't think it's all too dissimilar from TPC Southwind a couple weeks ago, honestly.
Jason, you agree with that? And how do you think the setup's going to be?
I think they'll set it up sort of easier than harder, trying to get a lot of birdies out there and trying to, really ramp up the drama. And, you're going to do that by making birdies and eagles available. I'm just looking at the list right now. I'm trying to think of the worst possible scenario for the PGA Tour, because what they've done.
Jacob Bridgman.
That's exactly where I was going to go.
How dare you? I'm going Jacob Bridgman.
Down near the bottom of the list. If Jacob Bridgman 7 days from now is holding up a FedEx Cup trophy and winning $10 million, there are people in PGA Tour headquarters in Ponte Vedra Beach who are like, oh my God, what did we do? Why did we change the staggered scoring? The staggered scoring was implemented 6 years ago to essentially give them an out so that if somebody played better than Scheffler, Rory, Xander, Victor, whoever it might have been, like those guys still have a great advantage, and those guys are probably one of them is going to win the FedEx Cup. And so it's like, hey, look, here's our winner. It's a popular superstar that everybody likes. And we wrap up the season with a nice story. They are absolutely going to get hammered on all angles. If it's a Jacob Bridgman, I know Nick Taylor won, but it was 7 months ago. I don't know. Like, pick out one of these guys who hasn't won all year. I mean, I remember a scenario back in the day where Paul Casey had not won a golf tournament all year and went into the final event top 5 and legit could have finished second or third at the Tour Championship and won the whole FedEx Cup without ever winning a tournament. That would be fantastic, and we have something sort of close to it next week.
Patrick, there are, mostly big names. There are the Jacob Bridgmans. Andrew Novak is going to be there in the top. Nick Taylor, we mentioned, who, has some appeal there. And we'll see how the top 30 ends out there. But it does feel like it's going to probably be a bigger name that's going to lift the trophy. What type of big name are you looking for in terms of their golf game in particular? Are we looking for, I hate to do the cop-out thing, but are we looking for ball strikers?
Okay, let's look back last year. The top 4 on the leaderboard were 1 through 4 from tee to green. And the top 8, it was 7 out of the top 8 were in the top 8 from tee to green. The only outlier was Adam Scott, who led the field in terms of putting. So yeah, pretty simple stuff, I would say. And so naturally, I mean, we do have the odds out. They've been out for a little bit now. I'm rolling with Russell Henley at 25-1. How could you not? 25-1 in a 30-man field? Just disrespectful. All this talk about captain's picks for the Ryder Cup. I would argue the biggest question for Keegan Bradley is he going to pair the 2 best players in the world together in Scotty Scheffler and Russell Henley at Bethpage Flag?
Jason, listen, I'm not a Henley guy, but I have to admit 25-1 doesn't sound terrible in a 30-person field, but there are those guys ahead of him that are more likely to win. Is there anybody that you have your eyes on, or a type of golfer you have your eyes on?
Yeah, I'll admit the same thing. I'm not a big Henley guy, and yet the number does sound pretty good. I look at this very much the way I look at first-round leader plays and like DFS Showdown, which is who can get really hot. Like who can just get, it might be volatile. You might be, looking at a guy that's dead man walking going into the weekend. But I look at a player like Sam Burns, who's playing well right now. We know that he can make more putts. And I get it. Tee to green is going to be the biggest determining factor of success next week. But give me a guy who's pretty good tee to green and then rolls in a whole lot of putts. As far as little as I like Sam Burns, we talked about him earlier, and I'm just in the top 5 market or the without market. I'm probably not looking his way today. For next week, I kind of like that idea of going with Sam Burns, like another guy who hasn't won this year and could win the whole FedEx Cup.
Man,
I mean, you guys
Corey Connors. What about him?
No.
I'm looking at. I already have my card in my mind. It's going to be Henley at 25.
Okay.
Harrison is 50-1. Lock that in.
I love that, by the way.
And then Brian Harman is 65-1.
I do like Harman. Harman's a guy that I had. I wrote up the FedEx Cup preview before the FedEx St. Jude last week, and I had Harman on there as well. Maybe we just give it to Sanjay. I don't know. Sanjay just had
Corey
the
Connors
worst season of anyone to ever get into the Tour Championship and just goes out and wins it.
I don't remember one shot from Sanjay's season or Corey Connors' season.
That's right.
No.
That would be, to me, that's almost as big of a disaster as Jacob Bridgman. Sanjay's been terrible the entire year.
At least
with the exception of like 1 or
there.
2 major tournaments.
Turn that into a story. You're sitting there in the press room on Sunday afternoon. You're like, all right, I can work with Sanjay. He's been so bad, but you get in, you get a chip in a chair. The Bridgman story, take nothing away from him. He's been a good player throughout the entire year, obviously, to get in or be on the inside looking out as of right now with 18 holes played. That said, there's just not much of a story there. I mean, if you're the PGA Tour, you want a FedEx Cup champion it's leading Sports Center that night, and all the local newscasts are talking about it. The internet is a buzz, and none of those things would happen.
How dare you? I've won more money on Jacob Bridgman than any other golfer in 2025.
You are not the mainstream media. You are not the casual fan.
True. Yeah. That is so true. Okay, first of all, I like that you gave out your card. Jason, I need 2 names from you because we got at least 2 names from Patrick that he's considering. I'm not going to hold you to it. Sam Burns is definitely one of my names. I absolutely love that call, so I'm going to steal that from you. That's my guy as well. I'm not going down to Bridgman. I'm trying to think of another guy. I do like the Harris English call. Those are going to be my 2 names for now. I'm just stealing from you guys. Harris English and Sam Burns. Jason, how about 2 names from you that you're like, I like these guys enough. I think they could win it.
I'm not looking at the prices right now yet, but boy, Tommy Fleetwood. You talk about storylines. I'll give you the bad storyline in Bridgman. The best storyline might be Tommy Fleetwood.
Yes.
Been there, tried to get there, and you're looking for a ball striker who's trending in the right direction, who's motivated. It could be Tommy next week. I'm sure the number's too short, and I won't get into it just because I don't trust him on a Sunday, and nobody should. That said, it could be Tommy Fleetwood.
We do have a couple people in the comments. I like both of these. Xavier82 says, do not sleep on JJ Spawn. Jason, I know we want to discard JJ Spawn, but he always just ends up being in the conversation. And Joseph Bose is also mentioning the potential again in Atlanta of bad weather, something we need to monitor for our Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday show. Wednesday live chat, we'll have a much better read on the weather there. Any follow-up, Patrick, on JJ Spawn?
Not really. I could see
another
it, right?
another disaster victor. correct?
No. I mean, you can build up. I mean, he's a couple playoffs away from being a Players Championship winner and a postseason winner, in addition to the U.S. Open winner. He is 28-1, so that's that's higher than or shorter than JT, Morikawa, Cam Young, Ben Griffin. We get Sepp Straka back next week, hopefully as well.
What's Cam Young's number, Patrick?
He is at 30-1 on DraftKings now. Yeah.
Okay, that's my card.
That's your
Cam
guy?
Young, Sam Burns, Harris English. That's my card, everybody.
Okay.
You guys know it's
most
most
likely.
Scheffler next week, right? Like,
Say it
there's
again?
no way it's not Scheffler. We're gonna sit here and
Okay,
discuss this.
so-
And they're gonna clip this. They're
you
gonna
know
do
me.
it on social,
You know me.
and we're gonna not mention Scotty Scheffler's name. It's definitely Scotty Scheffler.
Here's the question. Scotty Scheffler is plus 180 to win the Tour Championship. Pretty much the same price today. Would you rather have him today or next week?
Today. Absolutely.
Okay.
He's got to beat 29 other guys next week. He's only got to beat one other guy today. I don't think Ludwig's going to go and catch. If he passes McIntyre, I don't think he's going to do that with Ludwig passing him.
Mhm.
So I think I'll take my chances being 4 shots back on a Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby Max looked really, really comfortable until he doesn't look comfortable, which could be on the second, or in the first 5 holes today. So I could see that gap closing super quick. It's a great question. And for the record, you know me, I'm going to weasel out of the Tour Championship sort of Scotty thing by probably taking much shorter numbers on the guys I just liked and take the without Scotty Scheffler market. I don't want to deal with the guy. I don't want to deal with it.
Done with him.
I've been done with it.
I'm sick of it.
Jason, any closing thoughts on Eastlake before we circle back to round 4 of the BMW Championship?
No, the only thing I'll point out, not in the betting markets, but this is apparently a bridge year. Everybody keeps referring to it as. So
Bridgeman year.
there's going to be
Mhm.
something different next year. I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be match play or like the U.S. Amateur stroke play into match play, or maybe it's going to be a true playoff where you have to play the first week if you want to get into the next one and the one after that. I don't know what the answer is. Rory McIlroy the other day summed up what I've been saying for the last 20 years, which is you've got a lot of people to look out for. It's not just, hey, let's make it entertaining for the fans.
Yeah.
It's not just the sponsors, the rights holders. They've never figured out what the FedEx Cup is supposed to be. It's never been defined. Is it supposed to be the season-long champion who's been the best on the PGA Tour? Is it supposed to be who wins the sprint during the postseason, like other professional sports where, hey, you get hot at the right time and you can win the whole prize? Is it a combination of the two? Until it gets more clearly defined, they're always going to struggle with what it's supposed to be and how they're supposed to reward it. And I don't see a great long-term solution, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with.
Patrick, any thoughts on what it's going to be? Because sometimes you have special insight there, or for that matter, the editorial part of this, what it should be.
So Josh Carpenter of SBJ, aka the Ice Cream Man, because he has all the scoops. He said the players were against match play. Like it was proposed to them, and they were like, "We don't want to do this." So I really have no idea, but I will say it's a good time for Brian Rolapp to come into the fold, and this has to be pretty high on his priority list, I would say, just because, like Jason said, no one really knows what the FedEx Cup playoffs is, and next year is going to be 2 decades of this thing now, 20 years of the FedEx Cup playoffs, and it really hasn't made a splash at all. So I have faith in the guy, right? I feel like that's not usual for the mean and green media to have faith in leadership, but he seems to know his stuff, so I'm interested to see what he does. I have no idea what it's going to be, though.
Do you think we're missing the boat a little bit on, and I see there's some like CBS, NBC convo in here in terms of who has the playoffs and the storylines. I do feel like we're missing the boat a little bit, not we CBS, but in general on the storylines in terms of making the top 50 and the top 30. I think that is theater that we're not really presenting in terms of what the implications are. Jason, any thoughts?
I actually disagree. I actually think the broadcast played up too much. I get why they do it. There's a secondary storyline there. It's not just who's going to win, but quite frankly, last week was a great example. As a golf fan, I was very intrigued by, okay, Tommy's trying to win a golf tournament. Wait, here comes Justin Rose, JJ Spawn getting into the mix. Scotty's lingering. To me, that's the drama that I want to watch, and that's the benefit of the playoffs, is that you get the best players on the PGA Tour playing against each other for 3 straight weeks. Quite frankly, guys getting into the top 50 after last, like, I get why it's big for them, but unless I'm a massive Ricky Fowler fan, I don't care that much. Like, I just as a fan,
yeah,
like,
but you don't care that much because the media is not leaning into it. You're saying, yeah, they're talking about it during the broadcast.
Into it.
No,
no,
you don't understand. I'm talking about like boxing matches, like when you lean into like special shows and special segments that predate the actual tournament itself, where you're leaning into like, hey, like you're walking around with a guy in his practice round or something, or when he's with his family, almost like a Netflix thing where you're like making the top 50, maybe not for Ricky Fowler or top 30 for somebody like Jacob Bridgman or something. I feel like those storylines, when you kind of like learn more about the player and you lean into the idea that this is going to be really big for him and his family. I'm not talking about during the broadcast. Yeah, of course it's mentioned, but Patrick, I'm looking for more theater. I'm looking for creating content.
You're creating something that's not there. It's just not there, Sia.
I think it's interesting. I genuinely do.
But it's not like this isn't guys playing for their careers. It's not guys playing for like, man, we're not going to be able to put food on the table for the kids if we don't make top 50 this year. These guys are going to be fine. And they're going to get, if they play well enough, they'll get into those signature events. They'll get into the major championships. It's just like, is it big for them personally? Sure, they want to accomplish that goal. But for me as a fan, I really care about what the leaderboard looks like and who's going to win the golf tournament over who might play the next week.
Cool. Think you guys covered it.
I don't know. I think it's big for the non-big name players. Top 70, top 50. I think it's really compelling. It could be really compelling theater there.
My gripe with the postseason is the intriguing aspect of it is the bottom half of the field when it should be the opposite. In my opinion, right? I think they should do the cutoffs and into signature events. Like, you know what lacks a little bit of juice? Kind of the end of the regular season with the 3M Open and the Wyndham Championship. Like, have that, like, have the top 70, those who get into the playoffs, just have those guys in the signature events or something like that, and then focus on the top end guys in the playoffs, like every other sports league does.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, it'll be an interesting offseason. Patrick and Jason, I know you'll be on top of the news there. So really looking forward to the Tour Championship, but everything that kind of all the dominoes that fall after it. And of course, the fall swing, where we'll be covering some of that stuff too, folks, by the way. All right. We got to circle back. We're going to circle back to the BMW. That's going to end our very, very quick look at East Lake, some of the players we like. I kind of put out my card. We'll see if that's actually my card, but I did like a lot of the players that Patrick and Jason mentioned. So we're going to talk about that more on Monday on the DFS show, Tuesday on the Best Bets show, and of course during the live chat at 4:00 on this SportsLine YouTube channel. Let's circle back, gentlemen, to the BMW Championship. Round 4, I see Novak is now plus 19. I mean, he's going to the Tour Championship. Jason, are you noticing anything on the course that has your interest? I mean, we've already kind of talked about some of our bets, but anything changing your mind right now?
Not necessarily. It looks like the course is playing probably similar to what it's been playing over the last few days. Just, there are birdies out there. There's bogeys out there. I'm not giving you anything that you haven't seen so far. I will just give a very special shout out to Xander Schauffele, who I thought was going to have a really good week. A lot of people thought he was going to have a really good week. I thought he'd get into the Tour Championship. And with a seat at the table, I thought he'd have a really nice week there, as he usually does at East Lake. That's not going to happen. He's 1 under through 6 today, but 6 over overall, tied for 37th place. That is extremely disappointing for Xander Schauffele to finish his season like this.
Yeah, Patrick, it's something we talked about on the Best Bets show a lot, where it was like, well, when is Xander going to come around? And unfortunately, and this is something, my position a few weeks back was, I'm not sure it's going to happen this season. We're kind of putting this arbitrary time construct on it. And it's like, maybe we'll see Xander next year. You know what I mean? Like Xander, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he's just a week away still. Been saying it for the past 30 weeks, I believe. So next week at home, he's going to have a great week, I bet. Unfortunately, like Sobel said, of course, the 1 year everyone starts at even par at East Lake, Xander Schauffele is not there.
It's like 10,000 spoons.
Yeah.
Final thoughts here, Jason. We talked about the without market. I mean, it didn't look like, and so this is going to happen. We're at the BMW. It's a 50-person field. We got a guy with a huge lead. We're certainly not going to force bets here. But when we talked on the front end of this show, was there anything, whether it was a top 10 or a top 5 or a matchup or maybe that without market, or Scotty at plus 175 to win it. Like if you had to kind of choose from the grab bag that we put out there, what would be the bet that you'd find most compelling?
Yeah, so I'll give you a couple of them. Scotty to win, I think at plus 175 is a really nice number considering he started the week, 3/4 of a point longer than that. And so I think you're still getting a really good number considering he's in second place. This could be one of those situations where 4 holes into it, Scotty's tied for the lead. And you're like, oh, of course Scotty's tied for the lead. How did I not play that number? So I do think that Scotty makes sense there. In the without market, it just makes sense that Tommy Fleetwood would have a really good Sunday when he can't win a golf tournament. That seems like his MO, that when he can win, he doesn't play well. When he can't win, he's going to play really well. And so I like Tommy Fleetwood in the without market. And then for top 5 and certainly for top 10, I think Cameron Young had a bad first round and has figured it out the last 36 holes. And I feel like he should be able to continue doing that.
Before I go to you, Patrick, Cam I only had 2 outrights for this tournament. It was Cam and Goddard. Cam was like pretty steady round 1 and then triple bogeyed the final hole. And I just really think he's been great, pretty solid since then. And I really think it was that 18th that really derailed him and kind of kept him out of the conversation. 5 under, that's going to happen in golf. I just wish he could take that particular hole back. Patrick, any bets that we talked about that you're potentially leaning into?
Soak it in. Ricky Fowler is going to punch his ticket into the Tour Championship this afternoon. The corrupt golf media is going to be livid. They're going to be, I cannot wait. I'll be scrolling Twitter on my phone. And so that is what I'm rooting for. So top 5, north of 4-1. I think it was like plus 430 for Ricky to finish inside the top 5. Be getting T8 a couple strokes outside that mark. That is where my money and my heart is this afternoon.
All right.
Patrick,
I think
can I point out that the 3 words corrupt golf media is
corrupt
like my least favorite phrase on all of social media.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite. You got to lean into it, Sobel.
No. Inept golf media, that's fine. Corrupt golf, like what corruption? Who's
the CGM, man? It runs deep.
Who's paying me? I don't know. I'd love to be corrupt. Just show me how.
You gotta be leading into Patrick's sarcasm here,
points,
Jason.
Monahan has dished out to me. I'll forward you the email.
Let's leave with this. So I'm scrolling up. We do have to get out of here, but there's so many comments I'm trying to catch up on. And the deal says, I think this is where we should cap. We already kind of talked about East Lake, and by the way, my favorite play is probably Burns plus 500. I don't love any matchups. I do like some dogs that we talked about. If anybody wants to lean into those, back up the show. But Sam Burns at plus 500. I think that's a rich enough number for me to at least, throw a few bucks down on it. But the deal says Captain Keegan winning next week would steal the show. Jason, you go first.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
I also think that Keegan's got so much on his plate. He's just, look, I love the fact that Keegan's played well throughout this. He's not played well over the last month and a half. There's just way too much going on for Keegan to go out there and focus on golf and play well. I love Keegan. I hope he does it. That'd be a great story. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Patrick, that's a top 3 storyline, is it not? If Keegan were to win it.
Look, ever since this guy has been announced, I've been rooting for him to be a playing captain. So obviously I'm rooting for that. But my focus right now, Sia, is on Ricky Fowler getting to the Tour Championship. Okay. We can't look ahead to Cincinnati next week. We got to focus on Baltimore. I
really want to see that too. He's currently 32nd. So Sungjae's having a great day. We need Sungjae to triple bogey something.
Exit stage left.
And Michael Kim's probably going to backtrack. Michael Kim's not going to put 4 great days together, right, guys? By the way, he's currently sitting 30th.
Hey, well, one way or another, we'll hear all about it. So
that's right. All right. That's fair. That's a good spot to close the show. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Prasant, Fuzzy, Xavier, Joseph Boza, David Talk. So many have been in here. Most of you, Mutanda's smashing the like button, which we always appreciate. Again, schedule is just like it always is for the Tour Championship. Same thing, right? We got the DFS show tomorrow at 7 o'clock. We got the Best Bets show at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. We got the live chat at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. Maybe some network shows in there, too. I believe Friday there's a network show on CBS Sports Network. And then again, Sunday, we've got this live chat. It'll probably be us 3 and Mike McClure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the BMW Championship and a quick look at the Tour Championship over at East Lake. More to come from the early wedge. Have a great Sunday, everybody.